Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel, where today we are going to be looking at a band called Sink the Ship and their album Persevere. So Sink the Ship is this pop punk influenced easy core band from Ohio. They're currently signed to Sharp Tone Records, and from my research, all I could find was the fact that they've got this one album and I think one EP, but they've been around since I'm pretty sure their biography page said 2012. Let me double check that a minute. But yeah, so they've not had too many albums. I think this one came out in 2018 roughly. So I can't even find the page that I was looking on now. What the shit? Here we go. Yes, so the years active are 2012 till present, but this album came out in 2018. So they've been around for a while, but not really released all too much, which is interesting. Yeah, there's not too much known about them. Like I said, they don't have too many albums or EPs out. I couldn't even find a wiki page for them like I normally use. I know they're not the most reliable, but still, I had to go off of their fandom and Discogs page. So, yeah, the write-up about who they are is basically minimal. And before I delve into this album review, I must say I struggled to get through this. So you'll see the first few songs, I'm kind of like, yeah, the normal way I'd review. And then as I slowly get more and more closer to jumping in the bathtub with a toaster, the song reviews will get less interested. So, without any further procrastination, let's get this train out of the station. What the fuck was that? Right, so track one, we have Second Chances, which is about 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So, as we dive into this 14 track, 50-minute album, we start rather quickly, and the opening verse has some solid lines. And this is probably one of the few songs I actually go, I enjoyed some of the lines on this. So we start with, I remember way back in the day when I was just a young boy, I was so naive, I had a big heart full of nothing but love, but it didn't take long for the world to fuck me up. I learned real quick that you can't turn your back to anyone, it's always the closest ones taking advantage, leaving you with damage done. And I was like, that's just the first verse. So I had high hopes, like if they were going to delve into interesting topics like that, I was like, maybe this could be a interesting song. After this, we go from the screamed section into that stereotypical pop punk clean vocal section. It was quite a very smooth transition, and then it goes back again into the heavier vocals. The drum work on this song was solid. I enjoyed the guitar work, even though it's not super in your face until near the end, where it finally gets a chance to actually come into the forefront a little bit more. And that's predominantly it for track one. So track two is Out of Here. This is about 4 minutes 10, 4 minutes 11, something like that. The guitars to start here were cool. We quickly go to the cleans, and that's there until around the 1 minute 45 mark, roughly. And then the other vocals kick in. Again, the drum work is very bouncy, very groovy. You can tell there's the pop punk influences as well as the easy core sort of style. Like I say, it's got like pop punk elements mixed with metalcore, guitar squeals. Like some of the heavier vocals are reminiscent of um, bands like Chunk No Captain Chunk, which is ironic because you'll see that in a minute. There was a slight instrumental break, which was cool, but I'm already 2 songs in at this point, and I was noticing that the lyrics were starting to get very stereotypical pop punk, like I hate my town, I hate the people, and things like that. And this was only 2 songs in, and it does get worse. So track 3 is Domestic Dispute. This is about 3.5 minutes long, featuring Bert Ponsett of Chunk No Captain Chunk. So here we see the first of only 2 features on this album, with Bert of Chunk No Captain Chunk featuring. As is expected, that really keeps that pop punk feel going, but with the added change to the vocal layup, with Bert's like French like twang coming through here and there, and his different flow, that made this song go by much quicker. And that's something I really do think this album could have done better, is it has 2 features on the album and they put them back to back in a 14-track album, where, as I've stated already, this album gets very tedious very quickly to listen to in a start to finish format. Now, if there were more features, it probably would have been easier to get through. If there had been some spacing between the features, it would have been better, because you could have had like 2 good songs to look forward to. But no, they went with track 3 and 4. So track 4 is Everything, which is 3 minutes and 43 seconds long, featuring Levi Benton of Miss May I. So obviously we've had like the pop punk feature in Chunk No Captain Chunk's Bert, and then we've got Levi Benton, who is more of like the metalcore scene feature. We start with the heavier vocals, but quickly move into the cleans. That is one problem I had with this. Like, you would get this like opening not metal section, but opening heavier section, and they would so quickly change it to the cleans for a few of these songs. Like, this feels like there's a bit more there to keep interest going throughout the song, though, as I'm finding myself getting bored easily with the first 3 songs. And I have 10 left at this point. So Levi Benton's feature was alright. Like, you could sort of pick him out. The instrumentation was a little bit more metalcore on this track, compared to the pop punky influences on the first 3 tracks. But yeah, it was just kind of alright. We then move on to track 5, Nail Biter, which is about 3.5 minutes. We start off with a short build again. We have a small guttural, like, heavy section into the cleans again, and then we go back. The guitars were good here, but the drums stood out way more. Again, lyrics weren't much to me personally on this. There's an area that feels like a breakdown is coming, but then you just get clean vocals, which was kind of shit. So, moving on, we have track 6, Put Up or Shut Up, just shy of 4 minutes long. A slower build here with some like piano-esque things happening alongside the guitars and drums. We get a bit of a verse, the first verse, sorry, in the more guttural style of vocals. Then the cleans. This does actually feel like a different song finally. Like, it doesn't feel like all the last songs that kind of sounded the same. It sounds a bit different. like there's a bit of I'm trying to think of how to describe it. There's a bit of a different cadence. The end has a little bit more oomph, with a line being, "Last call, you want to man up? You got something to say? Then fucking tell me what's up." And then that kind of like goes into a little bit of a heavier instrumental section and stuff. But it still wasn't fully great. Then we get to track 7, Persevere. 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Halfway in at this point, and I was really not feeling this album at all, apart from like the 2 songs with features on it. And I was like, part of me wants to tap out. I was this close to just doing half of the album and saying, fuck it, my first did not finish, like, but I was like, nah, I can't have that. I cannot not finish this. Even if I'm not enjoying it, I have to power through. It might be stupid of me. It might be something that I don't do next time, because my brain cells were depleting and I do not have fucking many of those as it is. Anyway, this song is back to that stereotypical rhythm most of the songs have had, but this has more of the heavier vocals, actually, with just the cleans feeling like they're used for choruses. The drums are good, the guitars are allowed a little bit more shine here too, but that's about all the praise I could give it. Track 8 is called Trust Your Gut. It's about 3.5 minutes long. The lyrics here are, again, stereotypical pop punk. You hurt me, I can't trust you, I'm ghosting you. And like, this is actually some of the lines from here. I trusted you, you showed me your true colours. If an eye for an eye makes the world go blind, then we're about to be some blind motherfuckers. Like, it's quite juvenile lyric writing, honestly. And I'm like, I know my stuff that I write isn't much better, but that's for me. That's not for putting out there into the world. Like, yeah. So track 9 is called Strike First. This is about 2 minutes and 53 seconds. It's the shortest song so far on the album. The generic vibes are really wearing on me here. Like, each song's lyrical content feels very similar. The songs flow very similar too. This song, again, was very similar in terms of, I don't like my town, I'm going to strike first, I'm going to burn places down, I'm going to leave, all of this sort of stuff. We then move on to track 10 called Exposing the Hype, about 3.5 minutes. And I've written here, I knew the short track was a fluke. This is like some sort of call out track, talking about lying to magazines and how kids will believe anything you say, and how you wouldn't say shit to their faces, you're a bitch and stuff like this. It feels like something you would have written when you had an issue with somebody back in like secondary school, or like somebody that doesn't know you on the internet. It was very meh, very, again, hate to use the word juvenile. It felt bland. Like, take for example Attila's Call Out, which I know isn't exactly a great song either, but at least they actually, you know, reference who they're chatting shit to. This here, you don't know who the fuck they're calling out. You don't know whose hype they're exposing. All you know is they lie in their interviews in magazine and kids believe it. That could be fucking any band. As you can see, this was really starting to get to me at this point. Track 11, so we're nearing the final sections here. It's called Dead Weight. This is about 3 minutes and 3 minutes and 14 seconds, I think it was. I forgot to write that down. After several, this town sucks, people suck, people lie and hurt you, this fucker does a complete 180. It's like, the world's not against you, the world's not out to get you. Drop the dead weight in your life and you'll grow, you'll thrive, you need room to breathe. It felt like it was a completely different thing, and I was sat there like, what? Huh? Track 12 is called Take This to Heart. It's 4 minutes and 24 seconds, and I've just written, ugh, why is this such a long song? And oh my god, why is it actually more generic than all of the others? Fuck me. Moving to track 13, we have The Chase, which is 3 minutes and 44 seconds, and all I've written here is, it's a song about chasing your dreams, pretty much. Like I said, I started to give no fucks. I wasn't enjoying it. Track 14 is Domestic Dispute Part 2. I say Part 2, it's not. It's just the acoustic version, which is 3 minutes and 33 seconds. And for this, I simply have written, why does this version sound so much more whinier over acoustic guitars? Because it was whinier. It felt whinier without having Bert's vocals there to add a bit of something else, and without the heavier sections to add a bit of something else. Just the cleans over acoustic guitars was so fucking whiny, so grating. Ugh. Right, final thoughts. This was brain numbing. I have never wanted to give up halfway into a damn album before, and I wish I actually did, because this was not my cup of tea. I did just feel like it did just feel like a storm of genre tropes all thrown together, mixed in a bucket, slapped out into some sort of like format that they've found online on how to make a pop punk album, and they've gone with that. I've had other albums that were like tedious to get through. There was one in particular, Carnifex, who, if you've been on this channel a while, you will probably know I fucking love Carnifex. But one of their albums, I think it was Graveside Confessions, that one I felt quite hard to get through. I had to do that album in 2 parts, like the writing portion, because so many of the songs were very similar in the theme, and it was quite a long album for them. And if I hadn't left this as late as I had to do yesterday, and if I had realised it was going to be such a generic album, I either would have dropped out halfway through at track 7 like I wanted to, or I would have given myself more time and done this in 2 sittings, so I didn't want to jump in the bathtub with a toaster. Top tracks, normally I'd give you 4. The only 2 I remotely enjoyed were the 2 with features, so Everything and Domestic Dispute. And again, it's ironic to say I liked Domestic Dispute with the features on it and stuff, because the acoustic version was so fucking boring and so whiny. But the proper version was slightly more enjoyable. That's it. I really couldn't find another 2 to give you the top 4 tracks like normal. This album for me is like a 3.5, a 4 out of 10. Possibly my lowest score I've ever given. I'm pretty confident in saying that it is actually the lowest score I've ever given. I will not be looking into any more Sync the Ship if they release anything more. Yeah, that's all I've got to say on that one. I will see you soon in the next video, which will be let us discuss. And the topic is, so Post Malone's gone country. And I'm going to give you my loose thoughts on his new album, F1 Trillion, before I eventually get around to doing a full review on F1 Trillion Long Bed Edition, which is a 2-disc with, I think, another 8 tracks on it. And with that being said, the only thing that is left to do is say, remember to stay safe out there, my friends. Obviously, like, subscribe, all that bollocks. I know I don't normally do this. If you've got any recommendations of songs you want to see me check out, or artists you want to see me check out, leave them in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, my friends. Stay safe out there.